Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Aetherborn TCG. Now for today's video, I had the idea to take a look back at all the iterations my last card game went through. From when I started testing, drawing, making cards for it, to the final product which released on the Game Crafter before I took it down. Now, Aetherborn went through a lot of phases, but it was only really over about a year. I kinda wanted to make this video to show you guys that it's normal to have multiple iterations and it can take you a while to get to a version you like. Now you might say, but you took down your final version. And to that I say, do as I say, not as I do. So what was Aetherborn? Well, it was a typical creature fighting game where the main mechanic was that your life was both a deck of resources and, well, your life. So you had to balance if you wanted to take damage, so you could spend more resources to play cards, if you wanted to play conservatively, but it would slow down your gameplay style. Now this mechanic was in all versions of Aetherborn up into the final version, which never came out because that's when I went back to revise the cards. So here are some of the earliest cards I made for the game. Here's an example of a unit card at this point in time, and an example of the Time Aether. Now, you can obviously tell this was heavily based off of Magic's template. Like, I'm not even gonna front. So, back in Aetherborn, every type had its own unique mechanic. For Time, that was Rewind, where certain creatures could be placed back on top of your deck when they died. Now, this obviously led to some balancing issues. Some types like Time had an interesting, unique, flavorful ability, and sometimes like Earth just had Taunting. But I never seemed to get the hint because these stayed in the game up until the final version. Now this helped each type feel unique to play, but some decks are just outright better than others. Now next is what I like to call the Origins era. This is because the first set of the game at this point was going to be a 208 base set called Origins. So as you can see on this unit, there are a few changes made to the template here. There's a bar at the bottom for the unit's attack, for their critical, which is what you use to calculate damage, for their type, and then the unit's cost was moved to the left side of the card instead of being in the top row. Now if you look back at my oldest videos, you'll see some videos from this time. This is when I started going onto YouTube and advertising the game. So you'll be able to see a couple of more cards there. So this set featured 20 cards for each of the 8 types, different rarities. One of the mechanics for these variant cards, which are full art versions of cards in the main set. Now, 2 problems emerged with Origins. The first one was the set size, 208 cards. Ignoring the ideas, that's 208 pieces of individual artwork. And keep in mind, I was learning art for this card game, so I was no Picasso back then. And that leads directly into the second problem. The game just didn't look appealing. When I got to first print run of these cards, the border was just so big. So this leads directly into a very small in-between era, which is when I tried to revise the cards from Origins. None of these were really made public. So the main product here was Primeval Genesis, the name of a time element starter deck. So in this version, you'll see I made a few more changes, added colors to the bars so that you could see the type more clearly, and I tried to add some more texture to the design. You can tell here that it was an in-between between Origins and the final version. So again, if that version mainly dealt with the problem of beautification of the template, well then the next version also dealt with the problem of the extremely large set size. So the final version, of which the first set Twilight Visions went on sale, is the one I'll show you now. So here's some cards from the final version. So I decided in development to split the sets up by element. I didn't think it'd be feasible to give each card type, enough cards within one main core set. Which leads into the 3 planned sets for the final version of Aetherborn. We had Twilight Visions, which had the light, time, and dark elements, We had Cardinal Forces, which had Fire, Ice, Earth, and Wind, and then the final one was named Event Horizon, and this set had Storm, Void, and Life type cards. Now again, here's some of the cards that were finished. The first set was complete and on sale, and the second set was in production and was about halfway done. On screen you'll see some art from some familiar faces like Cards at Home and Nexus's project. Now this was the only version to have some sort of real lore, and while it didn't really have much of an ongoing story at the time, I can give you a few details about the game world. So Aetherborn took place on a planet named Inferior, and it was some kind of anachronistic mixture of magic and mainly steampunk technology. It featured these multiple societies and factions, which pretty much battled it out, and each element had its own terrain type that they tended to stick to. Now in the background, I have a video playing of a pack opening for the game that I had recorded last year. You might be asking, why didn't I post this when I was trying to sell the game? And my answer to that would be, good question. But here you can see a few of the things I was trying to do. Again, there was only 3 types in the first set. There was only 4 real rarities in this game: commons, uncommons, rares, and super rares, with 1 secret rare in the set. Now the difference between the first variation and this variation was about 8 or 9 months, and you'll see some improvement in art here. I was pretty proud of some of the marquee cards in this set, and although that would be like a common card or like, you know, a low rarity card in Astronomica back then, that was the pinnacle of my skill. And that was not a very high pinnacle, let me tell you. And now the last thing I want to show off is the Aetherborn revision, which I was working on before I switched to Zenith, which eventually became Epsilon and then Astronomica. Now in the remake, pretty much what changed was I got rid of the life being a deck of resources. Here, your deck was your life still, but it was your main deck. And then resources were generated similar to Dragon Ball Super, where if you put a card in your energy zone, it generates energy of that type. You'll also notice how visually different the template looks. This is mainly because I got a new program around this time, and I got extremely extra with the features. So design tip, don't get too extra with your template. So sadly, I eventually ran out of steam while working on this project, took a break, came back wanting to do science fiction cards, and well, the rest is history. When it's all said and done, I'm proud of Aetherborn. Not many games make it to a state where they can finish a set and sell it, and I got there. And while it obviously didn't do well, and I wasn't completely proud of it, I'm still proud that it even got to that point. So if there's one thing you take away from this video, I'd like to tell you to finish a set, finish a game, finish a concept, because you have to finish something and take a finalized look at what you've done in order to really improve, I feel like. Looking back at Aetherborn allows me to make a lot of different decisions with Astronomica that I wouldn't have made without that experience, and for that, I'm thankful. Now that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I just want to highlight that we hit 50 subscribers this month. I'm astounded. Coming from when the channel had 30 subscribers and I left it in limbo just in a month alone and nearly doubling my count, it's made me real happy. Anyway, as always, like it if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it. I hope to see you again next time. Stay creative, and peace.